I'm done. Please. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be God. I want you to decide what's right for me. I surrender to your will.
This is specifically for the motherfuckers who came out here claiming to represent hip-hop but really didn't do shit to preserve the value of the fucking art form, the way of life. Hip-hop is a way to live, man. It ain't no institutionalized religion or something. It's a way to live. It's a culture, dog. You know what I mean? You know, so if you ain't really got nothing beneficial to offer this hip-hop shit, preserve the value of the art form, the music, the way of living, don't even fuck with it. We don't need dead weight motherfuckers.
I feel like there was hype behind this album of Tory's for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had came out with those 2 singles. At first it was
Yeah.
like Lady of Namek.
Yep.
And like I forgot what the other one was.
Hurts Me, I think, right?
What was it?
Hurts Me?
I think it was Hurts Me. You good?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Just make
Is it in your way?
No, I just want to make sure it's close enough.
Because you could also, I think there's a way to like flip it so that the thing's coming from the other side. Like that, yeah, exactly. If
I was
like,
thinking about maybe putting this on this side. This way I don't have to...
whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. It's your world, man. I'm just living in it.
I don't know about all that.
You want to, alright, let me do this then. Hold up, I got you.
Because like I said, if I'm going to be talking away from you, that kind of...
this really quick.
Yeah.
And then I left out the spot. This is like montage music, too. Yeah, just move that over there. I'm gonna.
I think that makes a little more sense.
Alright, whatever. And then I'm gonna tuck this through. I'm just gonna pull it through and just hold it for a second. And my whole foot on the dash. You know, like, this is the type of music they play, like, you know, in an 80s movie. Someone's about to pull the last shot in the basketball game. Right when the beat drops. My heart. Speeding in the rain. There you go. There you go, Joey.
There we go.
Better?
Yes.
Alright, let me just... Yeah, there you go. Hit one of those.
Like I said, because if I was doing this, I feel like that would have been weird. Now I can talk this way and have everything going.
Get a little cozy on them.
Oh, yeah. Little cozy tapes.
Oh, baby. Said I won't dance again. Oh, let me get the cups real quick. Your beverage, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Water, of course, right?
Could be whatever you want it to be. You drink what you want in your cup. You ever seen that?
No.
That's from, damn, where's that from? It's like, I can hear in my mind, it's like an intro, and it's Lil Wayne talking. He's like, it's your cup. Drink it.
Drink it.
Damn, where's that from? I think that's a song. I want to say it's a song.
Ain't nothing in the cup right now but some wine. I drank Dolce. That's about it. That's the only thing in the cup right now. But honestly, it ain't nobody's business what's in my cup, what's in your cup, what's in their cup. It's your cup. Drink it.
Oh, damn. There's nothing I hate more than, like, forgetting something and it's on the tip of
right
your,
there.
like, oh my God, bro. Oh my God, what? All the time.
Alright, before we get this really going, let me get your gift.
You really got a fucking gift.
I got you something. A little thank you for having me on the podcast.
Okay.
And, obviously, sports related. If I can get it out of the bag, it'd be nice. There it is.
I'm scared.
Oh, don't be. What do you
What?
Think what do you think I'd bring?
What the hell? Oh!
How
I was
about
zooming
it?
on that one. That's a Jets Cabernet Sauvignon. How do you say that?
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon.
That's right.
Yo.
Drink it, keep it on display, do what you want with that. But that is, I found that.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for having
That's
me.
what's
Of course,
up,
my
man.
brother.
Yo, some
Thank you.
Jets wine.
That's
Yo,
right.
you know who might need some wine tonight?
Oh, you been drinking your problems away already?
Yo, you know who might need some wine tonight? Robert Saleh.
Oh yeah.
Robert Saleh might need some wine tonight.
I think
man.
we gotta
Oh
get
my
into
God.
that.
No, we are about to get into that. It's, you know, if I could just go on a tangent real quick. It's no mystery. We both watched the Pat McAfee show today. Can I say, first off, I think he handled that perfectly.
I agree.
Perfectly. His characterization of, and I'm not saying it's false, I'm saying just what he depicted of, like, Robert Saleh being human. And how important it was for people. Because obviously, Jet fans are like, yo, thank God he's gone. And
It's
strategically, like, in the large scale of how you feel, like, how could I explain it? Like, if you want to win, you could make a decision strategically, but that doesn't mean of your opinion of the person.
Of course.
And I think a lot of Jet fans sometimes get that mixed up. But I think he said that really well. What is sketch about me and my thought process is the phone call that he had with Woody Johnson the night before.
That timeline is...
It's a little
odd.
sketch.
It's odd. But do we really think that Aaron Rodgers has that much power to call for the coach's firing? Does a player really have that much at stake over an organization, over an owner, over the GM, like a quarterback? Is he worth that much to them that he would have that say?
I'll put it like this. If there was any active quarterback that did have said power,
It would be him.
Pat.
Mahomes.
You gotta put Lamar up there, maybe.
Possibly.
Josh Allen.
I agree with that list. I don't
But
think anyone else.
Aaron Rodgers is the most veteran of the group.
True. Again,
LeBron James and the Lakers type situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he emphasized that when they interviewed him. Actually, he's like, I don't know why these people think I have all this power. And he gave that little...
Yeah. Again, he's probably downplaying it. He probably does.
You get what I'm saying?
He definitely has enough power where words were exchanged in that phone call. I don't want to say he was lying on the McAfee show where he said he didn't know or was caught off guard or whatever the case was, but I find it hard to believe the owner wouldn't have hinted to Rodgers
A little
saying
something.
that, like...
A light thing.
Yeah, again, it
You
doesn't
know?
have to be full-fledged, but I don't think Rodgers didn't know that this was on the table. Whether it was coming or not, I think he for sure knew that it was very possible, whether it was this week, next week, or before week 10, that this was potentially on the table for that.
Now, here's what I think about life in the grand scale, right? Because, you know, I'm a metaphorical kind of guy. I learned in college, life is not black or white. It is just many different shades of gray. Where we don't live in a world, we don't, where he knew or he didn't, and you clean your hands in that. There's too many variables. He's the star quarterback on the team that needs him. It's a little brother organization, some might say, but it's definitely well connected. Like they said, like he said, like these are people that see each other more than some of them see their own family.
Yep.
So there's no way we live in a perfect world where there's no whispers.
Yeah, again.
You know what I'm saying? But the reality of that is not what he needed to portray in that. What he needed to portray is how he feels about the decision. And I think he did a good job of that.
I agree, and I like that he talked about how Robert Saleh has kids and he knows them, and it's bigger than football. Like you said, fans are so quick to jump on what they want for the team when the fans really don't have a say.
Yeah.
You know, the fans are the fans. We get passionate. My Eagles, your Jets.
Right. You really got the shirt on.
That's right.
That's lit.
Gotta come up
Had
repping
to.
today, man. But yeah, again, he was talking about how it's more than football, and people need to let people be people and
Right.
let people be humans. And now this man doesn't have a job and has 7 kids. And
7. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Seven's
He said that today, and
a
that was a
high
lot.
number.
So
A high number.
yeah, definitely.
So like definitely that could also be why you feel for someone, you know, like yo, That's like, yo, I always bring up Antonio Cromartie and how he had like 13 kids or something wild like that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, at that point, with the amount of money that you make, no matter what your position is, like, you're living a regular life.
Yeah, you still need to have income.
You still need to have that per child.
Yeah,
you feel me?
To support and move forward and to give everyone the life that they're deserved. I mean, these guys make so much money. Offense coordinators, coaches, players. I mean, they make more money than most normal people. But still, when you're out of a job, you're out of a job with 7 kids. It's one more thing to think about.
I heard rumors he's going on vacation right now.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
I mean, he should. I mean, he does have a contract.
What else are you gonna do? Like, yeah, like that's like he has his already guaranteed whatever million it is. I haven't even looked up what his contract was, or
I'm not sure what the numbers are either. But again, at that point, why not take a vacation, clear your head, and think about what your next step
all
is.
right. So as you hear it, as you already know, it's time to talk about what we're all here to talk about. Robert Saleh, the New York Jets. A little bit of wine. Come and waste your time.
That's right.
It's Cody's Corner. All right. Like I said, just hit Aaron Rodgers right in the dome. I don't know if you saw that. Hello, everybody, and welcome officially to Cody's Corner. Cody's week-by-week hot takes on who's going to take the W in the sports you're worried about. David is not here today. We got someone from the Fantasy League. Is my boy. Known him as well for a long time. Eagles fan. What is it you said earlier? Chelsea fan, Celtics fan.
Penguins.
Oh, man. Come on.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. But the one and only, we got Joey with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yo, I appreciate this wine also, man.
Hell yeah.
I've never even fathomed the idea of having wine as a Jets fan.
Mm-hmm.
Probably enjoying some, as the years have gone by of doom and despair. But, at least now, I think this is really cool, especially in a year where they have a player that I think we really need to talk about today, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We got a lot to talk about today, man. It's
we picked a good day to do this.
A great day to do this. For us, it will be a day after the news broke out of how Robert Saleh was officially fired from the New York Jets. And I know that we were kind of waiting, holding it. You said we might be on the same page, but now I really don't know if we are, man, because the truth is you're an Eagles fan, bro. Your brain works differently than other people.
That's true, but I have nothing against the Jets. If this was the Giants we were talking about, we'd have another.
I've heard you say pretty vile things about the Jets. Come on now, bro.
Listen,
you're an Eagles fan.
I am an Eagles fan, but listen, Jets fans get a little delusional. You're kind of a step below the Cowboys, man.
You want to talk about delusional? Woo! Below the Cowboys? Don't do that.
Look, the Jets, y'all talk a lot, but don't have a lot to show for it. The Cowboys talk a lot, they don't have a lot to show for it.
You know what? Since you went there, I need to before we talk about anything else, I have a really important question for you because I feel like you would have a strong opinion on this, right? Talking about delusional. The Eagles are not going in the direction that most people would have hoped.
No, not at all.
Right? Given. Are you scared of the Commanders right now?
I'm not scared of them, but I'm more surprised at how well Jaden Daniels has taken the leadership of the role of being starting quarterback so young. And
he's a star, bro.
And with a whole new coaching system, pretty much a whole new team. I mean, you still got Scary Terry there. You've still got Zach Ertz at tight end. You've still got Brian Robinson. But there's a lot
Austin
of
Eckler.
Austin Eckler, again, new piece as well to that team. But I think it's very shocking to see their record and see how well they've been playing. They haven't only been winning games; they've been winning games convincingly.
Yeah, and their offense is super creative.
Listen,
on
I think
the coach
that
side
the Eagles
well.
and even the Cowboys are better teams on paper. They just need to put it together.
Yeah.
In terms of longevity for the Washington Commanders, they are trending in the right direction. I don't think anybody thought that they were going to be a big competitor in this division. I think everyone thought they'd finish last. With the Giants ahead of them and the Cowboys and Eagles up there for first and second. I don't think that's anything outlandish to say.
Of course.
But no, I like what I've seen from Jaden Daniels. Look, I'm an Eagles fan. The Washington Commanders have never been a great organization. They've had RG3 for those few years.
That was the last time they had a rookie that was any type of convincing.
And he is looking like the second coming of RG3 without a doubt. I hope that he can keep his composure and not overwork himself and get hurt like RG3 did, because that would be devastating. He is a great talent, and he is showing shades of what Robert Griffin was trending towards before that knee injury.
You know what I also heard, and I was actually looking at it just now. He doesn't like the comparisons of other people to himself, And I could see that. And I agree with what you said, especially what you said about like the emphasis on will that extra workload be good in the longevity of his career? Because right now, even though I think that I think that the Commanders are being coached extremely well. No shun to the coaching, but he's playing Lamar ball out there.
Yes,
he is. He's doing everything's in his hands. Obviously, he's the quarterback. That's how it works. But like, he's doing the extra mile to make whatever happen instead of preying on a receiver, which is understandable in the Commanders' sense, because their real like closest thing to a star receiver probably is Terry McLaurin.
absolutely.
And he in himself is like a B. But at the end of the day, I think that I get very excited to watch Jaden Daniels, if I'm being real with you.
Again, like I said, he's a great
Electric
generational
player.
talent, and I think what surprised me the most watching him through 5 weeks has been his accuracy and his arm strength. And I think that that's something that Lamar didn't have his rookie year and was working. We always kept saying Lamar Jackson's a running back. He's a running back. He's a running back. We haven't said that about Jaden Daniels in 5 games. Not once has anyone said, "Well, he's just running the ball. He's just doing all that."
Sorry.
But I think it's crazy. I understand you don't want the comparisons. You want to be your own player.
Yeah.
But it's hard to
Stand
not
on your own name.
Exactly, stand on your name. But it's hard not to compare when your game is so similar to another former franchise quarterback they had.
Actively.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's hard not to compare him to RG3 because the play style is so similar. It's so run focused, but also RG3 had a great arm.
I also
RG3
wouldn't want to put that on him though.
Yeah.
Like at the same sound, like RG3 didn't have any longevity, so
Exactly.
like no disrespect to him because he was nice in his time, but I think when you think about it like that, like yo, you don't want him to be the next RG3. Don't put that out there.
Yeah,
You
but
feel me?
we're not talking about him or we're not comparing him to what he's gonna end up as. 4 or 5 years in the league and then out of it. A freak accident is a freak accident. But again, RG3 had a heavy workload, very young, and he was playing so well that can these young kids, these young guys that are playing against these veteran defensive players that are bigger and more physical and have more experience, you're putting a young kid out there who has the talent but isn't quite as durable because he hasn't taken those college hits and those NFL hits are totally, totally different.
Yeah.
It's a totally different game. And you've seen young talent come in and it just doesn't always translate. Drake May finally getting his start.
I was about to say that.
So,
look, talking about a young face coming into the scene now.
Again, already drafted. They wanted
He
him
did play
to
a couple downs the game before, if I'm not mistaken, and
They did. They threw him into a kind of a not so great situation. He didn't look great. He threw
yeah,
had a
not
couple
to
of
succeed,
snaps.
but like to finish the game, kind of.
So I'm curious to see how he does because him and Jaden Daniels were picked right around the same time in this draft. So again, you've got a young talent. You almost want him to get into the league, start to get the feel down. So, you got to think of these young players and longevity for injury. I mean, these things happen. How many injuries have we had this year already? Nico Collins going down this week already on IR for 4
You're trying
weeks.
to change the subject away from your division, and I understand your
we'll stay there, we'll
maneuvering.
stay there.
No, we'll stay there
it's fine.
because we
We'll
got to
keep talking.
stay here. Look, you have the shirt on for a reason. We're not going to pivot away.
Like I said, you'll get one of these one day.
So I hope and pray, man. But look, we're going to get to that after this. I need to know something. As a Philly fan right now, how do you feel about your team?
I think we need to get healthy. We need A.J. Brown back. He's obviously a key piece of this Eagles offense, and Jalen Hurts cannot do it himself, clearly.
Yeah. Dallas Goedert is exciting.
Dallas Goedert is exciting, and even when he's on the field, when the Eagles are at full strength, he's not utilized enough, and it's very disappointing to see him not utilized. Like I said, he stepped up in that game against the Saints, but that's because Devontae Smith went out with an injury. A.J.
Right.
Brown was out with an injury. You can only run the ball so effectively against some teams. I'm really happy Dallas Goedert got in, got his licks, and got that team into winning position because he put the team on his back. He was that security blanket for Jalen Hurts to move those chains and to get out there and not just rely on his legs and not just to rely on Saquon. Which was nice to see.
Which has not been disappointing from him either, but at the same time, like you said, too much workload on someone, could be their demise.
Exactly.
Dallas Goedert is actually the receiving leader for the Eagles right now, surprisingly.
Surprisingly and also not surprisingly, again.
You just said you don't think he got the ball enough in the beginning.
He
So to
didn't.
say that and he's still leading it, you know what I'm saying?
A.J.
Like,
Brown has missed 2 weeks and a bye week. Devontae Smith
bro.
is the number 2 receiver behind A.J. Brown. And again, I think that Jalen Hurts is just very reliant on his legs a little too much. He's still too run first, throw second.
Yeah.
He has the arm strength. He has it in him. And the year we went to the Super Bowl, he was throwing deep balls to A.J. Brown. He was throwing deep balls to Devontae Smith. And that's something that, because we have new play callers, they're getting away from. It's a lot of screen passes. It's a lot of dinks and doinks. And I just don't think this play calling is allowing Jalen Hurts.
You said dinks and doinks?
Dinks and doinks, man. Looks like a Madden game out there.
You said that like they're a Scooby-Doo movie. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of jinkies and wowzers. I'm not gonna lie, man. I think that as far as the Eagles go, you guys should still be okay. Obviously, there's a lot of media out there that talks about how Daniel Jones isn't really doing as badly as people are saying that he is. That he's playing a little above his level of what the expectancy was going into this season. The Cowboys are kind of lacking a little bit of chemistry, and they have a lot of injuries on defense. You know, the Eagles are dealing with injury, but people are trying to say that might be also like a coaching decision. How good is Nick Sirianni looking this year? Is it play calling? Is it a mixture of both? How much do you think Nick Sirianni has to do with the success of the Eagles so far?
I think he has a lot to do with it. As someone who is still living in the glory days of the Eagles, I would love to see Doug Peterson coach this team. I know Doug Peterson's gotten some not so friendly comments about his time in Jacksonville, but I think we moved on from him a season or two early. I understand like when things go not according to plan, the owners and GMs have to make decisions, but I don't know if Sirianni is a great head coach. I just think he's on a team with great talent. And I think if you put him in Jacksonville, I think if you put him in Miami without Tua, I don't think that he would be sticking around in those teams as long as he has here. I think that the Eagles' play calling this year, and even last year when we went on that losing skid into the playoffs, we got blown out by Tampa. We were 10-1, lost 5 of our last 6. I think a lot comes down on him. He is the head coach, but I just don't know if it's his play calling or the OC's play calling. But I just don't think that they're letting these players get to their full potential, and I think it creates a big problem in the locker room where guys just don't trust the innards of the organization, and I think that translates to the players not giving it their all, and translates to the more pressure on the play callers and coaches as well.
Now, it's so funny. I think first off, you worded that beautifully. If I could say, that's exactly how I feel about the Jets right now as well. Like, literally, word for word, if there's no success going on in the, what was it you said, the word you used, innards of the organization, then, okay, I think the Eagles are, that's funny that you think of it that way, because I think the Jets were in that same situation, but the GM bit the bullet, you know what I mean? The GM pulled the trigger and said, okay, you're out. And just for the people out there, the last time they did that was 1976.
Wow.
Woody Johnson himself has never made that decision. They've only done it 3 times in their history. 75 was the first one that they hired someone mid-season, and then they fired him mid-season in 76, and they did the same thing to that guy that he did to someone else, and they haven't done it again since yesterday. Wow. So I want to say, since you're wondering, and I feel like, you know, obviously the Bills did that last season. You know, this is, I don't want to say it's trending lately, but it looks like the AFC East is looking to make a lot of changes really soon, especially with the current condition of Miami. New England's in a rebuild. I feel like all of us are kind of fighting to be last man standing in this division, if I'm being honest. They're looking weak. So I'm going to say this. I said a couple episodes ago, and I still think so, that you can't have a proper evaluation of a team until it's like week 7, week 8. But I did also say that I think Robert Saleh will be our demise. I'm not negating from how he is as a person, as we were talking about before, but I don't think that he was a good head coach. I think that he's a good defensive coach. I think that that's an experience that the Jets have had in the past, especially with Todd Bowles, things like that, Rex Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. By the way, since you were talking about people that might be the head coach, he's been on that list. And the question that I have provoked out of any Jet fan that I know is these. Do you call Bill Belichick? Absolutely.
No.
You call him. It goes without saying that that might not be the step you take as a Jet organization, but you call him. One time, out of respect, he came from the Jets organization. You know, he's not that separated from being in the division for a very long time. If you don't make that decision, fine, but you give him a phone call, at least one, out of respect for the game. You give him a phone call. Rex Ryan might also be on that list.
You'd want Rex Ryan back as your coach, or just
he was the last coach that took the Jets to the playoffs with Mark Sanchez.
Okay,
he's the last one.
That's true.
He is the reason the Jets didn't go to the wild card game the last time we had an attempt to as the Bills head coach. There's a certain level of respect you put on certain coaches because of your experience with them. Rex Ryan is very good at being the Jets coach and beating the Jets as another head coach, and so is Bill Belichick.
Also true.
So you call him. Rumors that I heard last season, and I would love if this were to happen, the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. I forget his name off the top of my head, and I'm going to look that up.
Bobby, right? Bobby something.
Let's see. Okay, so I wrote OC and that didn't come up. That's probably not a good idea. Bobby Slowick?
Yes.
He's
doing great with the Texans right now.
Obviously doing amazing. Great. The development of C.J. Stroud in his rookie season and how they've handled so many different injuries in the receiving core, fantastic. However, last season he got offered many different places to be a head coach, and he declined them because he wanted to stay with the Texans and develop that. Excuse me. Obviously, we have an interim right now, which is our defensive coordinator. I believe is Greg Ulbrich.
Yes.
Is how you pronounce it. And he's a good coach. You know, we talked about him. I don't know if it was on camera or off camera. He was a linebacker for the 49ers. You know, someone who, like, they trust him in the locker room. And it's true what you said. Once you lose the locker room, you might as well pack it up. Like,
again, you don't have players that want to play for you. It doesn't
matter. Man. Like they don't respect or follow your instruction. Like, I feel like certain people need to just, like, not like, you know, let's say this was war. Right? You have the soldiers and you have the general. And it's a strategic move, whether a soldier sees it or not, to follow the plan. You feel me? So if they don't respect the general, that means why would they respect the plan? And that's when things go sideways.
Of course.
So the way that I see it, I'm going to put it like this. I am glad they moved forward from Robert Saleh. Was it too early? Perhaps. There was a lot of social media right before that, and I know you saw it. They were like, how many points did the Jets score last season up until week 5? 93. How many this season? 93. And you say to yourself, wow, the Jets offense has been just as successful with Aaron Rodgers than without. So Aaron Rodgers isn't the problem. The Aaron Rodgers cutout of the head is over there for a reason this week.
He's in timeout.
He's in timeout right now. He has to sit on his hands for 20 minutes. You ever seen that George Lopez?
Yeah.
You ever seen that George Lopez? He's like, yeah, sit on your hands.
Sit on your hands.
But I got to say this. Regardless if he was involved in the firing of Robert Saleh or not, he himself played horrible last game against Minnesota.
That was rough. That was a rough game. And
I'm not going to say that it was all his fault, but there's been other losses that you say, okay, it's not him, it's the O-line. Like against Denver, we played Denver, and that was just a defensive blowout by Denver in itself. Destroyed the O-line,
as well,
pressured him, weather, whatever. Okay, there's other things. Minnesota, the defense did their job. They held Minnesota to the least amount of points that they've had this season so far, 17. And then Aaron Rodgers overthrows a ball, throws a pick. He underthrows a ball, pick 6.
And then to end the game on a game-winning
And
drive.
then end the game on a game-winning drive.
Low and short.
Low, short, yo. What was his last name? Humphreys? Is that Humphreys? Yo, catches it while sliding. Like,
Incredible catch.
It was
but
incredible.
Horrible throw from
Yo,
Rodgers.
that is not. Yo, keep it short. Keep it short. You still had, like, he still had, I want to say, like, maybe 20 to 15 seconds on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
You get up the field, and you make that kick. I mean, you know, they would have had to score, right? It's hard. But it was not a good throw at all. That's not what you expect out of Aaron Rodgers. And he had time.
And again, if that was his only throw and his only interception of the game, it's one thing.
It's his
but
third.
It was his third. And to pay a quarterback as the Jets organization, the Jets organization was so excited to get their quarterback with all the quarterback mishaps the Jets have had in recent seasons.
No.
Not having a real set and forget quarterback since Mark Sanchez, really.
Right.
You finally go out and you get Rodgers, you pay him all that money, you trade away whatever you traded for him, and then you expect Aaron Rodgers to not only give you a chance on a game-winning drive like that, but not to throw 3 interceptions in a game, especially to end the game. And I think that was the biggest concern to me, was that Rodgers is off, and he's old. Rodgers is 40 years old. You paid him all that money. This is something, as a veteran guy, a Super Bowl champ, to go out and make those plays.
Right.
It concerns me for the Jets about his longevity with the team.
Oh, yeah.
Because if he cannot perform at this level, the game has evolved since he's won that Super Bowl.
Right.
He's made it to a bunch of NFC Championship games, lost. He had that run with Clay Matthews, and the defense was great. But what has he really done since that? A lot of NFC Championship games, a lot of regular season wins, but never could get over that hump. And you bring in a guy with that pedigree at 40 years old in that what I would call a young man's league right now. Look at
It's a fast league right now.
Look at C.J. Stroud. Look at Lamar Jackson. Look at Jalen Hurts. What can they do that Rodgers can't?
Run.
Maneuver.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about running for 50 yards. I'm not talking about Mahomes running for every first down. Maneuverability and ability to extend the play and make the throws. He can make the throws. He's got the vision. He's got.
He needs the time, though.
He needs the time. That O-line needs to protect him, and I'm fearing, not that he's going to get injured again, but I'm fearing that we've seen the best of Rodgers because the age. Father Time is undefeated. Brady couldn't do it. Rodgers isn't going to be able to do it. How long are you going to have Rodgers for it? He did.
Brady did it.
But that was...
nobody could play forever, but
Exactly.
he did it, though. If there was anyone that did it, it was Tom Brady that
True.
did it. Now, I want to say this to you really quick. It's rough. I'm going to shed a tear. No, all jokes aside, I feel like when you see him in that interview talking about how part of his reasoning to go there was to follow Robert Saleh, right? Which is understandable if you respect his success with San Francisco's defense in those Super Bowls. Absolutely. However, we need to say it because they talk about it everywhere else. Of course, there was rumor that Robert Saleh planned to fire Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator. And then, obviously, Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett are close. Mm-hmm. Is that when you get a phone call from Woody Johnson late at night? You feel me? Oh, look, he might touch my guy. What are we going to do about it? Mm-hmm. This is my boy. You know, the same thing about all the inquiries about Devontae Adams. Yo, this is my boy. What are we going to do about it, you know? The Jets have been blowing up the news as of lately, right? That's kind of crazy, bro.
A real good day to do
this. A real good day.
This was just what we needed.
This is my prediction, right? My prediction is I'm going to lose the bet I have with David about Devontae Adams. I'm going to repeat it one more time. If Devontae Adams is a Jet before Week 9, I owe David a cheesesteak. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. If he's not, he owes me a cheesesteak. I'm going to owe David a cheesesteak. My perception of what's going to happen is going to change. Or has changed. And it's not going to happen this week. Mm-hmm. Some people, I know I spoke to Noel in the league, and Noel was like, yesterday, he says to me, it's going to happen within the next 24 hours.
Shout out Noel.
Right? My Adam Schefter. Right? But, so I said to him, wow, really? So, obviously 24 hours passed. You feel me? So I was about to hit him up and be like, 24 hours, huh?
What do you know that I don't?
But I think because they fired Robert Saleh, if I was Devontae Adams, right, you got to see if they go out there with an interim and they beat Buffalo on Monday Night Football, I'm going there. I'm going there. And if they lose, I'm not. That would be the factor for me. Because obviously the other rumor is the Saints. And they just got smacked by the Chiefs.
And Derek Carr is out.
And Derek Carr is out, right? So because of all these factors, you got to say to yourself, okay, which one of these teams that looks like it's going to be my most likely landing spot can compete against a playoff team?
Let me throw one more team at you. And I don't know if you know, did you see what Devontae Adams posted on Instagram, on his Instagram?
Oh, yeah, the Raven, Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, I seen it.
Look, if you want to throw
the Ravens are the lowest
into the
odds on sports books to land in Baltimore.
I think they should be heavy favorites. Look, Devontae Adams is a star, and his clock is running out to not only play in a Super Bowl, but to win one. Why would you go with Rodgers, who's 40, with a team that just lost their coach, interim or not, or go to the Saints, who just lost their quarterback and have been playing well, but are those first 2 weeks from the Saints flukes the way they played? Because the last 3 weeks, they have not produced that same class that they did week 1 and week 2. And then he goes and he posts a picture of Edgar Allan Poe, which is what the Ravens are named after.
Yeah,
that's their mascot. So that's a hint right there, whether it was a meeting, whether it was talks, whatever. But imagine you go to a team with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Zay Flowers, with John Harbaugh, who's already a Super Bowl winning coach. That is an absolute win in the moment. There's like no question about that. If they are going to throw him the same money, or even a little bit less, that the Jets and the Saints would, why would you not go to Baltimore?
I'll give you one good reason. The money. As I can show you right now, and I'm clicking on it as we speak, they only have $4.3 million in cap space right now. That's not enough to pay Devontae Adams.
It's very true.
It's not enough.
It's not a lot.
If someone that's looking for a second round draft pick, the Ravens don't have it. They've been too nice, and they only have $4 million in cap space. It's beautiful on paper. Rip up the paper, shred it into pieces, put it in the shredder, whatever you gotta do, burn it, I don't know. Sage it, I don't know. But it can't happen. I want to know a team, look, and I was talking about them before, I said this to David last week, I don't know if you heard it in the episode. The Commanders. They have the cap space. The quarterback is on a rookie contract. All their receivers are not stars.
A lot of money.
That's a B at Terry McLaurin. You get a A at Devontae Adams. Mixed with everything else they got going on. Their coach is a brilliant man.
Cliff Kingsbury is killing it as the OC
Kingsbury, yo, he has a super spy name. Cliff Kingsbury? That's 007.
Like the
GoldenEye.
like the Kingsman movie.
You ever seen the... Yo, come on, bro.
Come on, bro.
What was his name? Eggy? That's very close to Cliff Kingsbury. That's right there. Take me home. You ever seen the second one?
Yeah, of course.
Come on, bro. And my boy blew up. Oh, my God.
Staying on that mine.
So it'd be beautiful. I think that... But... And I feel like I'm repeating stuff, but I'll say it to you since I wasn't in front of you. I think the perfect place for him to go would be Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh trades away Russell Wilson to Oakland.
That would be crazy that they brought on Russell Wilson, played like a preseason game. They let Justin Fields
is balling.
Take the reign, and then they're just gonna trade him. I think.
Did you know that the Las Vegas just benched Gardner Minshew and they're starting Aiden O'Connell this week?
I think they should have been starting him from week 1. I love Gardner Minshew. He played for the Eagles. I
Come
love
on,
his
bro.
flow.
Gardner
I love
Minshew's
his grit.
Come on, bro. He almost took Indianapolis to the playoffs last year.
He did, but at the same time, he's one of those mobile quarterbacks. Not mobile as in mobile in the field. Mobile as in he's been on a lot of teams. He's traveled. He's one of those pack up and go. You
that doesn't mean he's not good though.
But Aiden O'Connell was there when the last coach for the Raiders got fired, when they brought in Antonio Pierce, and Antonio Pierce pretty much gave him the keys to it. And they played really well with Aiden O'Connell to end the season last year. Devontae Adams was putting up points. Zamir White was putting up points last year when they lost Josh Jacobs for a few games last season. Like, I just think that there's a more of a... Gardner Minshew might be a better quarterback,
Yeah.
than Aiden O'Connell, but there's a chemistry thing. Like we've talked about, if you start to lose the locker room or you don't have that connection with the players,
Yeah.
you almost feel like those players aren't going to give you 100%.
Aiden O'Connell was a starting quarterback when they beat the Chargers by like 60 or some shit like that,
so
right?
he's
I
had
remember
good
that.
games, and I think that him getting benched and now getting the starting job again, it kind of has a little more incentive. It's like, all right, this is my time. I can't risk playing bad to get benched again. If he wants to be serious and stay with that team or even move on and get a bigger contract to go play somewhere else, I think Aiden O'Connell's in a big situation where he can really prove himself with the team. And I think that Antonio Pierce is a great coach. I just think that his roster is a little lackluster, and especially if they lose Devontae Adams, he's obviously the star on that team.
100%.
On the
That's
offensive
officially
side
a
of the ball.
rebuild after that.
Exactly. Then you lose Devontae Adams. Then does Max Crosby want to leave on the defensive side of the ball? Because again, you have these good players that you almost not all players want to waste their careers and stay with the team. You know, baseball, you had like Mike Trout stay with the Angels all those years, didn't really go ring chasing.
Right.
Not all players want to do that. So again,
Loyalty can hurt people sometimes.
exactly. And again, you bring up the point: is Devontae Adams a guy who's going to take money over winning? And could be an easy ring, because the Chiefs don't look that great this year. They're 4-0. But Mahomes has 6 turnovers. Mahomes has not been playing at his level. We talk about this all the time. Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're not linking up. Listen, are they still the favorite to win the Super Bowl? Yes. There's no doubt. But I think that the Ravens are the only real big threat in the AFC. And you go and you add Devontae Adams on just like a 1-year deal. They can make cuts at the end of the season. They can restructure deals. They can move pieces around. So again, Devontae Adams could have a way easier road to winning it, going with the Ravens and taking a pay cut. Because again, his clock is running out. He's already made so much money.
You know, that's kind of a bold statement to say that the Ravens are the only threat left in the AFC in its entirety.
You could throw Houston in there too.
Yeah, come on,
I
bro.
forgot about Houston, but again, they're still so young. Those players have not been to those big games. They can
AFC is wild.
look at what the Lions did last year. They made it to that game in the NFC. And I love Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's. I would run through a wall for that man if he was a coach. That man has grit. That man has heart. That man has passion.
That wall would kick your ass if you tried to do
would,
that.
but I would still do it for Dan Campbell. But
you fucking hit the wall.
he gets too aggressive with the play calling. He went too aggressive in the NFC Championship game last year, and it cost them. Not taking that field goal, not going for it on 4th downs. I love it, but there's certain situations you can't do that. And again, the Houston Texans have such a young roster. Can C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins put it together and make a long run like what the Bengals did a few years ago?
Yeah.
A young team made it all that way. They just didn't get the job done, and the Bengals have regressed so much since we saw them in that Super Bowl against the Rams. They're not even the same team.
I mean, that's
anymore.
just like also a super injury-ridden team in the first place right now. But
Very true, but
I have
they've regressed so much, and
I'm glad that your brain is all over the place, like ready to talk about all different aspects. You came prepared. I appreciate that. So, with that being said, right, I'm gonna get this video popping because I'm gonna ask you some questions, and we're gonna have some screen time for the people to follow along exactly what we're talking about. Let me get this popping for you, sir. 3, 2, 1. And we're rolling right now, so I got 3 questions for you. If you remember a little bit about what's going on from last week, just a little wrap up. I have it in front of me if you want to follow it along as well. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Can you see that?
I can.
You can move the wine if you need to. What team from last week do you think needs some milk?
In terms of injuries or in terms of a win?
They need to figure it out.
Cincinnati.
Yeah?
Without a doubt.
Whew, you said that pretty quick.
Without a doubt. They had that game in the bag. They went to overtime, and they missed the kick to win it. I know the snapper fumbled, fiddled with the ball and didn't let him get that kickoff quite right, and that cost him the game. That's a division game at a team that was 1-4 now, and they're 1-5. That was an absolute must-win game against the team that on paper is divisional game, and the Ravens are just so much better than the Bengals, and they held in there. Joe Burrow played pretty much a perfect game. The Bengals played a perfect game. But to fall that deep into that division is competitive. Look at the Steelers and their defense. They're allowing like 15 points a game, 16 points a game. That's crazy.
The Bengals are 1-4 right now.
The Bengals are 1-4. They
ugly,
had that game,
dude.
and they had it on a game-winning field goal in overtime for McPherson, and they muffed the hold. If he kicks it wide, that's one thing. But when was the last time you saw a kicker muff the hole?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Like,
that's not something you see frequently.
That's not
It's not
something you
like
see
it's not like
frequently.
oh, you know what happens. It's like yo, how did you even get here?
and that's so demoralizing to a team that played that well and to come away empty-handed. At that point, how much further, again, are you going to ride with the coaches and the coordinators?
Yeah.
If you can't get the job done against teams that are better than you in division, where do you go from there?
So this is what I gotta say. It's kind of the opposite of what you said before, right? About like how the Chiefs are still the Super Bowl favorite, but Pat Mahomes is playing awful. Where on the other aspect of that, you have Joe Burrow that looks like he's actually playing extremely well week by week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started off a little slow, but week by week he's been figuring out, as he usually does on the Bengals. But they don't have a record to reflect that. You know, and it's kind of a shame. Like I said, it's right in front of me. You got 30 for 39, 392 passing yards, 5 TDs, 1 pick. And they lost. So, where Lamar Jackson only threw 26 for 42. Like, what does that show you, bro?
42 attempts is a lot.
You know what I'm saying? And but Derrick Henry also gets 15 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. And then Zay Flowers, 7 catches for 111 yards. So, the team is nuts, man. Jamar Chase had 2 on the day with 10 catches, 193 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Chase Brown, 12 carries for 46 yards, being the rushing leader in Cincinnati. I think it's hard to think about a scenario where the top of the cream of the crop, you might say, isn't looking like it, and all these rookies are going crazy. It's just, I think it's a beautiful place to be, man, honestly. I'm curious, as well as you said before, I don't know how good Drake May is going to be. I think I spoke about it earlier on, but right now, you already know that the Patriots never really had aspirations for this year. It's going to be ugly. You know it's ugly.
Of course. Rookie quarterback, rebuild year.
That's fine. That's cool. And I get both sides of it, right? Some people say, you know if it's going to suck, give him the play time, give him the experience, let him dip his feet in the water. Like, that's cool. But then the other side of that is you don't give this kid a chance to really develop, which they say he has up until week 5. In 4 weeks, I guess he's looking like
a fast turn of events.
That's a quick remodel, if
Yeah,
I say so myself. Not to say that he needed extra assistance, but to get used to the speed and agility of the NFL, 5 weeks is not a lot. So then the other chance of that is you risk injury in a player that you may be more so afraid of. Now, there's some people that are getting exposed, if I'm being real. Anthony Richardson is rightfully so not looking like what's going on in Indianapolis. I'm very disappointed. I had a lot of hype.
Me too.
For Anthony Richardson, and then he threw that first beautiful ball week 1. I was like, yo, he's here.
He's back.
And he stayed right there. He hasn't really done anything crazy ever since. And then Joe Flacco comes in. He kind of woke Michael Pittman back up.
Yep.
Because Alec Pierce was the receiving leader up until that point, and I think it's kind of even now. I'd have to check. But if I had to say a team I think that needed some milk, New Orleans.
Really?
I'm gonna say New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
gonna say it like this because they're 2-3 right now. They started the season off super hot, super hot, and
It's cooled off.
I said I never was a Derek Carr fan. I'll say that until the fucking cows
agree.
come home, bro. And this is my problem right now. Because of that, now I have an issue with Derek Carr is turning back into what Derek Carr always was in his career. He starts off hot, gets hurt or slows down or whatever, loses his stride, and then he's out of the count. If you're looking at another location for Devontae Adams to hit, I don't know, man. It just seems like there's no reason for this to look like a location. And then when you're talking about just 18 for 28, 165 yards only, 2 touchdowns and a pick, that's a pretty average team, bro. I want to double check exactly.
I mean,
how
I was
many
pretty
passing yards
surprised
the
how
Jets
the
had.
Saints played week 1 and 2. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think we really expected much from them.
Yeah,
I don't
even
think-
Aaron Rodgers had 244. Man, come on, bro.
Put some respect on his name.
And Aaron Rodgers was getting rocked.
Yeah,
Yo,
I've seen a couple of those still
oh
shots
my
of him on
God.
the ground.
Yo, they made it into a meme, like him with his legs shaking.
He's turned into Will Levis
Even
with
on
the
Pat
memes.
McAfee, he was like, "Yeah, I messed up my ankle pretty bad. I'm like, pretty bad? What the? Yo, come on, bro.
This brother's 40. He can't
be
hits
saying
like that.
Yo, it's discouraging. Like you said, discouraging, bro.
Jets O-line, do better. Do better. Protect that man at all costs.
There was a lot of hype behind the line as well, and people were confident. Obviously, he had a little time to heal. That's cool, but like when you come down to it, it's sad, bro. It's sad to see that like he may be experiencing the same issues he was last season, and there isn't something to protect him, because that was what it was coming down to. Another thing is that even if he was good to go after he got hit like that and he went to go walk around a little bit, put Tyrod in there. Mm-hmm. Why would you risk anything after that? Even if he says he's great, if he picked up the grass on the floor like he does that little weird shit, you ever seen that he does that?
That's like the same thing with the LeBron with the power.
Yeah. Just picking up dirt.
That's his thing.
Just like, I don't know, man. There's no reason to keep Tyrod out the game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's very discouraging to Jet fans, but I don't think that there's any reason to think that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be a better quarterback than Derek Carr, especially in this day and age. But I have a second question for you. Do you have it in front of you now, or do you want me to show you the scoreboard one more time?
I have it. I do have it up.
You have it. All right, cool.
I do have one more team that needs some milk as well.
Oh, you have double milk today.
I forgot about this team.
Okay.
We need to talk about Cleveland real quick, because Deshaun Watson needs to do something, man. That team is falling apart.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
I don't know if it's Deshaun Watson or the coach or what.
It's not the coach, because the coach almost won Coach of the Year last year with Joe Flacco. I don't think that's the problem.
Because
I think it's
Deshaun
Watson,
have
bro.
Been horrible. People were calling for his benching. People at contract. The Houston Texans made out like bandits.
Washington is nice though.
But
don't get it twisted.
But to be fair, you also said the Saints need milk and they lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah, but that's not the same. That's not the same caliber of team though. Like Washington is scoring very high. They did that to Arizona the week before.
True.
Like that's not a low competing team either. But I don't know, man. And neither of them are Kansas City. So if anything, I would respect the loss to Kansas City more than a loss to Washington.
Also true.
I'm pretty sure last season. I don't know about this season. I have to check the statistics. But last season, Washington had the lowest rated defense in the NFL, and I remember that statistic that was like the Jets, when the Jets played the Commanders last season, it was the Jets had the lowest scoring offense,
and they had the most,
and the Washington had the lowest scoring defense, and it was like, oh my god, this game's gonna suck.
Deshaun Watson's numbers in that game were 15 for 28 for 125. Deshaun Watson has not thrown for 200 yards in 5 straight games.
Yeah, the
closest he came was against the Giants, and that was 196. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, 3 picks. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You got Amari Cooper. I know you don't have Nick Chubb back, but Jerome Ford has filled that role fine.
Jerry Jeudy's there.
I know they lost their tight end in Njoku too, but how do you not throw for 200 yards?
Yeah,
and Daniel Jones is throwing for 200 yards.
Apparently Nick Chubb might be active pretty soon. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
I do have him in one fantasy league.
There you
Very
go.
excited. Drafted.
There you go.
I've been holding on to him, waiting for his return patiently. I hope that he can get back to his former self. I hope they don't rush him back. But I hope that we do see him on the field and putting up some sort of Nick Chubb type numbers that he's put up in seasons past. I know he's had several knee injuries in this same knee.
Yeah.
So I hope that he can get past that and start getting back to his form, because I think that'll help Cleveland tremendously, and they'll take the weight off Jerome Ford's back a little bit too, having a nice 2-headed monster in the backfield, and maybe, just maybe, that'll help Deshaun Watson complete more passes, because right now 15 to 28 for 125 with a 53% completion rating is not. He needs 2 glasses of milk.
He needs one of those chug helmets that they put the straw through.
Yeah.
One's chocolate, one's strawberry. Come on, bro.
So
I have one more question for you. If you can give me one team that surprised you this week, you didn't expect them to do what they did.
One team.
I have 2 in mind, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna say one of them.
I think I right off the bat, I'd probably go Arizona.
That's not where I was going.
Beating
All right,
the
let's hear
Niners.
it.
I know the Niners have not looked that good, but again, a division game.
Yeah.
A young team. Kyler Murray back.
Yeah.
James Conner doing great.
Rushing leader of the game, 86 yards.
And And Marvin Harrison Jr., not a huge factor in that game, but a factor enough.
Leading receiver of the game was what was his name? Hold up.
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson. 5 catches, 78 yards. Kyler Murray, 19 for 30, 195, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Brock Purdy, 19 for 35, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
What's surprising to me is that game, they were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter and came back and won. I think that's what's surprising. They didn't win it convincingly, I'd say.
Comeback win.
But a comeback win, a gritty win. And that was surprising. I really like this Cardinals offense and what they're doing here. And again, it's a division game. I know the Niners don't have McCaffrey, but they've still been a decent team. I know a lot of injuries, but again, this is the Niners we're talking. This is the Super Bowl runners-up, NFC Championship runner-up the year before that. So, on paper, you would have pegged that. 80% of people were picking the Niners in that game.
100%.
And the Cardinals came out and had a nice, gritty, surprising win. To me, I think that was huge.
But Brandon Ayuk also woke up this week.
He did.
And he had been dormant for a while. My fantasy was like, finally!
Finally.
8 catches, 147 yards?
It's about time.
Oh,
all that money.
God,
it's about time.
bro. It was week 5. Dude, like, that's crazy.
And he did that with Jawan Jennings and Debo back, which is also surprising because you'd think he would have had that
fully
game.
Healthy squad, minus McCaffrey,
of course. Minus McCaffrey, but again, it's as healthy as they can be on the offensive side of the ball. I'm very shocked he put up those numbers with Debo back. I thought he would have put those numbers up when he missed that week. But obviously, Jawan Jennings had a 60-point fantasy week, 3 touchdowns, whatever it was. But yeah, I'm really happy to see Ayuk getting his flowers this week. That was huge.
Nice. So I got a team for you. It's on the screen right now for anybody watching.
I think I know where you're going here.
The New York Giants.
There it is.
The New York Giants beat the Seahawks 29-20. Daniel Jones, 23 for 34, 257 yards and 2 touchdowns. Who the hell was their rushing leader? Tyrone Tracy Jr. 18 carries, 129 yards. Darius Slayton, 8 catches, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. Geno Smith, 28 for 40, 284 yards. Also the rushing leader. And Tyler Lockett, not what's his name? DK Metcalf being the receiving leader.
Yeah, very surprising win
no
by
one
the
expected
Giants.
this.
That last drive they had was very nice. I want to talk about how they blocked that field goal. I think they found a nice little rule exploit, like the Eagles with the tush push. Everyone was calling for that play to be banned.
Right.
If you go back and you watch how the Giants blocked that game-winning field goal, putting your hands on the lineman's back so he couldn't stand for someone to go through the gap, they might need to look into that, because a few years ago when Troy Polamalu was jumping the line blocking field goals, they banned that rule, so you can't jump over the lineman anymore. Yeah. Now you're putting your hands on the center's back so he can't stand, creating that gap for someone to not jump over them, but to squeeze that gap because he cannot shift over. I think it's something to look into. It wasn't called a penalty. I saw that replay plenty of times. Other people were talking about it, saying that it was clean and this and that. But if teams start to pick that up, field goals are going to start getting blocked a lot more. If the center can't stand up and get to his position and block the gap, I don't know. I think that's huge. A great play, a great heads-up play to not expose the rule, yes, but to not take advantage of it by the Giants. I think that was huge. But I think that's something we gotta look into. I think I've never really seen a play like that. So
this is what I gotta say about that. I think if you should be allowed to do that, you should be allowed to jump over.
I agree. And if
make it even.
And if you ban the jump over, you should ban that.
I
but
agree.
Again, it's the Eagles fan, the tush push, this that. Listen, the Eagles have not executed the tush push effectively since Jason Kelsey's departure. So clearly he was the main difference in that, and I think that the Eagles finally know that, and we're going away from that, because the last time we tried to run it, we fumbled the ball. So we've gone back to it once or twice. It's worked.
It's not the recipe anymore, though.
It's not the recipe like what it was. Back when we were catching teams by surprise, it was. Now teams have prepped for it, so it's something you're going to be seeing less of because it didn't get banned.
So last week was also the swag surf by Kirk Cousins. That OT win was crazy.
That was a barn burner.
Yo, Drake London going
night.
crazy. Darnell Mooney. That was a fantastic game. Shout out to Atlanta. We were talking about Atlanta music before. Shout out to Atlanta.
Shout out Atlanta.
Good win over Tampa Bay. Divisional win for them. Now, as we move along, not talking about a good week. I didn't have a good week. It's looking a little hot for me in the hot seat. Rebuild season is my name for a reason. And you know what? It's 0-5 right now, man.
That's tough.
I got to
That is
talk
a
to you
tough
a
hole to
little
climb out
bit
of.
about what's going on. Honestly, I think my team is waking up when I need them, but I'm getting smacked out here, bro. Like, Brandon put up 174 against me this week. Joe Burrow with 33, DJ Moore with 27, and Mike Evans with 23. If I can click into my game really quick, because I know I just need to relive my misery for a second or two. On my side of the ball, this was the most consistent
A 117
along
week
the
is
board.
not.
It's not a bad week.
It's not bad. You
19, 13, 10, 10, 15, 12, 13, 6, 8. Okay. Cool. Whatever. Right? 174 is a wild number. But I digress. I'm 0-5. I'm not going to get into this week yet, because Lord knows I'll make an excuse for how I'm going to do better this week. I'm going to actually talk about your game next. Another game that didn't really go as planned for you. Noel beat you 135.42 to 102.6. Before we get into anything, just because we're looking at your team right now and how they performed last week, how do you feel about the standing of your team currently at 2-3?
I'm not too concerned. I did not have Malik Neighbors, who's the #1 receiver in the league.
Right.
So that's a huge loss for me. I was able to fill the void with Jordan Wrightington from the Rams this week, who did put up, I think, 18 this week.
10.9.
10?
Oh,
15.
15. Yeah,
15.9,
sorry, looking
so
at the
16.
wrong thing.
So again, it was a nice waiver ad to throw in. Again, it's not Malik Neighbors type numbers, but I mean, we got to talk Breece Hall. 2 weeks in a row, he's put up 5 and 6 points.
Yeah.
Again,
Minnesota's a good defense, though.
Stemming back to what the Jets even again, we were talking about the weather
O-line.
game in Denver. Where was the run game? The Jets couldn't get anything
Yeah, they
going.
should be running the ball a little
You would
extra
think-
heavy in a weather game.
Exactly. So I was expecting a little bit more of a run game from Breece Hall. Look, he's not,
Yeah.
drafted number 2, number 3 for a reason. 6 points ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
I did lose. Shout out Noel. Good team.
No,
Good
shout
team.
out Noel. Noel had a fantastic game this week, though. That's
Jay-
19-14-1 from Carson Steele, 15-29 from T. Higgins, and 23 from Brian Thomas Jr. Lord knows in that trade I was trying to get Brian Thomas Jr. from him super bad, and rightfully so. He wouldn't give him up.
He's an absolute wide receiver 2 in fantasy.
Yeah, he's really
he's
really
doing great.
killing it.
He's overtaken the Christian Kirk role as that safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence, and it's really starting to show now.
It's really kind of sad, actually, how much aspirations I had for Gabe Davis going into this season after such a blowout season in Buffalo, and now he's just not that. It's really unfortunate. 2-3, you guys were both touching 500, and that was the difference maker. Now he's 3-2.
Again, getting Malik Neighbors back, and hopefully getting Breece Hall to put up Breece Hall type numbers. I drafted
Dallas Goedert comes out of his bye week.
Exactly. I drafted this team as a boomer bust, taking 2 rookie wide receivers. I know you and David had talked
That's
about
wild.
that a couple weeks ago when they were dropping bombs.
Yeah.
So again, I drafted this team to be a boomer bust. So I know there was a lot of risk drafting 2 rookie wide receivers, but if they can get back on the same track, Malik Neighbors out of concussion protocol this week, so big things. I think we should get back on the horse. Again, am I the best team in the league? No. But should I make the playoffs? Should. We'll see.
Oh, man, I don't know. I hope to God I can make the playoffs. I think I need everybody to just do the opposite of what they've been doing so far. We got Albert Mendez beating Caillou and Anthony at 126 to 88.40.
Shout out the AFM game.
Shout out, man. They've been absolutely killing it. I'm going to go back to the scoreboard, actually. Kraft with 24.8 in Green Bay. Rashid Shaheed with 18.6 and C.J. Stroud with 15 against Derrick Henry 16. Justin Fields is basically 16 and Stephon Diggs is 14. And even though with the win, Caillou is only up, I think now it's 2-3. The other person that Albert beat, me. But that's fine. We just digress from that. I think that Albert is going on a little run here. And
I think that trade
he needs some momentum.
I think that trade he made with Pedro was definitely working in his factor. He got rid of Devontae Smith, who did eventually get hurt, adding Brian Robinson, adding Jackson Smith. I think those are 2 huge pieces. And shout out Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft,
for putting up wide receiver type 1 numbers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody
24.8
really
is
drafted
not,
him.
Yeah.
He's had 3 touchdowns in 2 games. He doubled up this week, and I think he scored the week before as well. So
They don't still have that other tight end. What's his name? Musgrave?
I think they do, but I think
This is
Tucker
the guy?
Kraft is clearly filling that role. Maybe
what's
Musgrave's
up.
becoming a blocker like Mark Andrews is now, but that's a huge waiver wire ad for Albert, and again at a tight end position that's so rare to have more than 6 points a week now. Kelsey's not really producing that much. He has the last week or so, but tight ends are a dime a dozen. So shout out Albert for finding.
You got one of the dimes yourself, Mr. Dallas Goddard
I
over
know,
here,
I know.
top receiving tight end in the league right now. David finally lost his first game, 103.62 to bend over my boy Ronnie, 115.74. Not a bad game on David's side of the ball. 33 points from Lamar. Michael Pittman, like I said, finally woke up, has 14, and Justin Tucker 13. But Garrett Wilson also finally woke up this week with 29.1. Josh Allen's 14, and Alan Lazard started 2 receivers on the New York Jets successfully.
And the tight end.
He started their tight end too? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yo, Ronnie's wild, bro. Yo, Ronnie's a little crazy. I would have been shitting bricks if I had to start 3. Yo, because I remember week 1, if I'm not mistaken, that was before Albert did that trade, and he had started A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and he won that week.
Yes, he did.
And that, I don't know about you, but that's like rule number 1 no for me. Don't start 2. It doesn't, if one of them has a good game, the other one's probably not.
Position. You can get away with a running back, wide receiver. You can
or
get
quarterback, something else.
Exactly. 2 wide receivers on the same team starting.
Oh my
Just for volume's sake.
3? And they all did successfully. Yo, you put up 115. And the kicker, yo, he's
and the kicker. Oh my god, I didn't even see that too.
Ronnie is wildin', bro.
In a game where the Jets only put up 17 offensive points, and they all up with the kicker put up double digits. Very impressive.
Ronnie,
very impressive. Shout out Ronnie.
Ronnie, you're bugging, bro. It worked one. Yo, I don't know how often. I gotta look. Can we? Can we
talk Garrett Wilson real quick?
Can we just go? I want to see if he's done that frequently. Because oh my god, I haven't been paying attention. Week 5, he did that. Okay. Week 4, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, Greg the Leg. So he did 3 of them. Okay, let's see. I'm curious now. Week 3, just Garrett and the kicker. Week 2, Garrett and the kicker. So he's done it with the. I mean, look. And it's not, like you said, sometimes, too, obviously the kicker doesn't have any factor to what's going on, whatever. But if we're talking about that realistically, I also start Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk. You know what I mean? It's not too different. Obviously, it hasn't been working out for me because Brandon Ayuk's been asleep until this week. But needless to say, that's a very wild fact to have 4.
It's bold.
It's bold. It's bold to say the least.
He better start thinking about when the Jets go on a bye week. Because he's about to be on a bye week, too.
He just forfeited that week. He's like, you know what? I'm good off of this week.
But let's talk Garrett Wilson real quick. Almost 30 points, finally.
Yeah.
First-round draft pick, putting up first-round draft pick type numbers for fantasy. I mean, he's had 15, 13, and 12 in prior weeks, which isn't horrible. But it's almost not sustainable as someone who has him in another league.
Yep.
I mean, Alan Lazard has been almost the number 1 up until this week. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah,
Lazard.
I believe so.
Garrett Wilson finally scored for the first time now. So.
Oh, he scored week 3, so this is his second touchdown.
He did.
But this is definitely by far way more catches than he's had. He before this week, 6 catches, 4 catches, 5. This week, 13. Other
That's
weeks,
like
60 yards, 33 yards, 40 yards. This week, 101.
And a touchdown. That's more like it.
And a touchdown. So, but he got targeted 22 times compared to the 11, 6, 9, and 8. So he was definitely woke up this week. Big up to Garrett Wilson. Everybody and their mother's clowning his long sleeves or his loose sleeves. He'd be wearing like a little rascal. We're gonna get back into
Pop
this
Warner
list.
jersey.
Can't put down the cup against Amon Raw, my boy Kelvin. Yo, Alex isn't that far off from me, man. I think it's me and Alex against the world coming up pretty soon. 116 to 102. Kelvin didn't have a great game either. Not to say that he had a bad game. He had Joe Flacco, his boy, so Kelvin's a Raven fan, so he's a big Joe Flacco guy. 26. George Kittle, another tight end that woke up this week with 20.4. Chuba Hubbard, the star running back in Carolina, with 17.5. Then on the other side of the ball, you got Dak Prescott with 16.38. You got Josh Jacobs with 16.4. And then you got the Commanders' defense against Cleveland with 14 points. So
shocking that Joe Flacco put up 26. I'm not gonna lie,
that's a high fantasy game.
That
for
he
Joe
doesn't
Flacco.
put up 26. Alex's team wins this. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's shocking that Alex is 1-4. I think his team is much better than what his record shows.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Kelvin's team by any means,
of
but
course.
looking at Alex's team with his core with Kamara, CeeDee Lamb, and Josh Jacobs with Dak, I think that's a very, very strong core.
Excuse me.
And for them to be, I don't want to say underproducing because you got 12 points from Kamara, 16 from Josh Jacobs, probably his best week, but 11 from CeeDee Lamb. I mean, again, you can't expect 25 from Lamb a week, but 11 seems just almost a bit low.
Yeah.
I know
And
they
it's
had a
not
tough,
surprising, though, because Pittsburgh's defense
exactly
is tough.
a tough Pittsburgh matchup,
Yeah.
and they had a good matchup on CeeDee Lamb, so that's to be expected. But again, just that's a tough loss for Alex in a close game. 116-102 is a close game. And like I said, Joe Flacco's 26 to Dak's 16. I mean, that's the difference right there.
Yeah, and you know what else? I feel like a lot of people were talking about not being satisfied with the production of Josh Jacobs, but he's been putting up consistent.
Low-ish,
But consistent.
Mid-tier consistent.
There was
No,
only
yes.
1 week he didn't put up 10. I was just looking at it. 12, 13, 5, 11, 16. So, RB2, I would call him a strong flex. Strong flex,
Strong case for an RB2, depending on who your other running back is.
100%.
But, I mean, he's got Kamara and Jacobs and Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
So it's a very strong running back core.
Talking about a strong running back core, if we can just review this last game. Good game, but not as close as usual. You got Petey beating Obi 143-132. Strong running back core. DeAndre Swift with 20. Ramondre Stevenson with
Welcome
19.
back, Ramondre Stevenson.
Jamar Chase with 2 touchdowns on the week on 41.3 points. Then to start the week, Drake London on the other side of the ball had 33.4. So this was by no means a bad game from Obi, but just a great game
Again,
from
a
Petey.
tough loss. Again, that
Yeah.
Devon Achane 2.7 points is not something you want to see from any player.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wan'Dale Robinson with 16 from the Giants. Geno Smith with 22. It wasn't a bad week overall.
not at all.
And the Vikings defense called him 18. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. But,
That Jamar Chase 41 was,
Yeah.
143 with a player putting up 41 points. I mean, that's your bulk right
Yeah,
there.
bro.
I mean, everyone else had
real.
had a pretty normal week. Ramondre Stevenson 19 again. Welcome back. He had some rough weeks. He had a goose egg the week before, 2 weeks before,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
8 points last week.
some shit
So
like that.
welcome back for that. DeAndre Swift also finally catching some form in DeAndre Swift. I know he started the season not too great. Let me hit the number. Yeah, he started the season 5, 8, and 6. In the last 2 weeks, 29.5 and 20 from DeAndre Swift.
Crazy.
So the Bears finally starting to put things together, which is nice to see from Caleb Williams and even DJ Moore as well.
And I might have expected a little more out of Dalton Kincaid this week, especially because Khalil Shakir was out. But he didn't really explode the way
But
I
starting
think.
Kincaid over Brock Bowers, now that looking at it, that was... Oof.
Yeah, and Josh Downs had 15.9.
I mean, I don't hate the Wan'Dale Robinson start.
I like the
flex.
Trey Sermon at running back, though.
I like that too.
That's a good move.
Again, Trey Sermon was in because no
No AR.
AR. No.
The running back.
Jonathan Taylor. No Jonathan
Oh,
Taylor.
I said AR. I'm tripping.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
Richardson.
bad.
But again, Wan'Dale Robinson filling that role for Malik Neighbors, no problem with that. But Kincaid against Houston versus Brock Bowers with Denver. I know that Denver
Yeah.
defense is good, but Brock Bowers has been the number one target on that team, especially no Devontae Adams. I mean,
Yeah.
that ball's got to go to somebody.
If you're starting one, if you're looking at their projected, Brock Bowers is projected 8.7, where Dalton Kincaid was projected 10. You kind of like if you're eyeballing that.
Of course.
It's not like at looking hindsight bias. You just look at it and say, oh, he's bugging. But at the end of the day, I think that made sense in the moment.
It made sense, but if you look at Brock Bowers' numbers, man, I know he had 2 not so great weeks, 3 and 4 with 7.1 and 5.1, but I mean he's been getting a lot of volume, 6 catches, 9
Yeah.
catches. I know he had those 2 rough weeks, but I think that Brock Bowers, if you have him, he's kind of a set and forget tight end. I think having Kincaid is a great second
Said
option.
set and forget.
I think so.
Smooth. I never heard that before.
I mean, again,
That's
I know
clear.
I can see why you'd want to swap them out for Kincaid, but I don't know. Josh Allen just has not looked like Josh Allen.
I
Is he
mean,
hurt? Is
all
he
tight
concussed?
ends have been
But-
feeling that way, though.
Yeah,
I thought Set and Forget was going to be my Sam Laporta, but right now it's my Trey McBride. You know, you never know how the tides are going to turn. I actually had Jonathan Taylor right before he got hurt, and now he's hurt. You never know how the tide's going to tide. Rico Dowdle had caught me 19.4. I also didn't throw that out there, but I think that's pretty cool. Deontay Johnson had a not as steady of a game for me, but Brandon Ayuk caught me the 22, so I'm not that worried. Hopefully Khalil Shakir comes back for me. Sam Laporta will be off a bye. Quentin Johnson will be off a bye. And hopefully Isaiah Pacheco comes back sooner rather than later for me so I can wrap this up. But
Still going to miss some time.
if you could just give me a second, we're going to pause right here, take a little breather, come back, and we'll give you guys all the predictions that we got for next week. So please hold. 3, 2, 1. All right, and we're back. Part 2. We're here to talk about what's going on in Week 6. You got the games in front of you?
I do have the games in front of me.
Let's get into it. So, Thursday Night Football, the one and only, just lost to New York. San Francisco just lost the game of their own. You got San Francisco at Seattle, 8:15, Prime Video in Seattle. What do you think?
Close game. Division game.
More important game for San Francisco than it is for Seattle, I'd say.
Huge game for both. I mean, both their records are what, 2-3, right?
3-2 is Seattle.
3-2 Seattle, and the
So-
Niners are 2-3.
They can look to both break 500. I said 300. If San Francisco wins this game, I saw some things on social media saying that Kyle Shanahan's in the hot seat right now. 0-2
I
away.
disagree. The team's not healthy. They don't have McCaffrey. I disagree.
They have a
I think you gotta keep
60%
riding
chance
with
of
them.
winning this game. It says Brandon Ayuk's looking like he's back in motion.
I think the Niners are the safe pick,
Yeah.
but give me Seattle this week.
All
Give me
right.
Seattle in a gritty win.
All right. I'm gonna take San Francisco. I'm gonna be safe on this one. You're a betting man. Let me ask you. I got one question for you. The over under 49.5.
I might go just under.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it might hit like 47. I think it
agree.
might slide like by like a point. I'm talking like missed field goal's gonna put it under for something weird's gonna happen. I don't know if a safety. I think it's a little stretch, but I think it's gonna go under 49.5, 50 points under.
Yeah, I like that. We got Jacksonville at Chicago in London, 9:30 in the morning. Second London game in a row on NFL Network in Tottenham.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Jacksonville's coming off a win, but
First win
I
of the
think
season.
Caleb Williams has been looking more impressive as of late than not. Right now he's 107 for 170 on the year, 1091 yards, 5 TDs, 4 picks. But Jacksonville also hasn't been looking the greatest either. Chicago's 3-2 though.
Chicago was 3-2.
No disrespect to Chicago, they're 3-2. Jacksonville has one win on the year.
And that came off a game-winning field goal this week. That just passed.
Exactly. You got Travis Etienne's questionable. DuVernay is on the IR. Evan Ingram's questionable. Gabe Davis is questionable. I think Chicago wins this game.
On the list here, it says Jacksonville is at Chicago. I know it's both an away game. They're both in London.
Yeah.
But we all know that the London Jags
It's
are
real.
a real team.
100%.
This is a home game for the Jags. It says they're away. They're the home team. They've done this every year. They're actually playing back-to-back
That's facts.
London games this year. Next week, they're also in London. They're going to be in London
Get
for
outta
2
here.
weeks.
What a good time for them to get out of Florida, huh?
Hey, that's probably also why they did it. I think
Yeah.
it might have just happened that the schedule
Also
felt like
horrible
that.
for anyone that's experiencing the storm or anything of any sort. We pray for, just make sure everyone and those that you know are just as safe as possible. No joking around about that whatsoever.
Yeah,
It's a serious
serious for real.
situation. So, anyone that's in Florida, I know that they. I'm pretty sure they flew out the Buccaneers a week early.
They did.
Where were they playing this week? I wasn't even looking at that. But
They are...
New Orleans. Yeah. So they had to get out of there early, as they should have. As anyone that was in the area, hopefully you were able to configure your situation. But to get back to the football game, I think that this is even though it's a home game, whatever. Chicago's defense is nothing to play around about, bro.
Chicago's been great. I'm a little worried about a young quarterback on the travel like this, going to play in London.
Yeah.
Give me the Jags this week. They
Alright.
win these games in London. If this was a game in the States, I'd pick the Bears. This is a game in London. The Jags are really the home team. They have a big cult following there. Give me the Jags.
All right, I'm gonna be opposite of you again. I got Chicago. So next one is Arizona at Green Bay. Arizona's been playing extremely good football.
Love what they've been doing lately.
But the Packers have a 61% chance of winning according to ESPN. So what does that say about that? I don't know. Jordan Love is going to be playing, I'm pretty sure. Kyler Murray, like you said, is Trey McBride still questionable? No one knows like the state of him actually. Oh, that noise? Okay, just so you know, that's like that just means that the average time of the show is up at that point.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna keep on moving.
You're good.
Josh Jacobs, like you said, finally woke up. I don't know, man. This is gonna be a hard one. I think that 3-2, 2-3, Arizona's gonna be maybe fighting a little bit harder, but it's in Lambeau Field. I think give me Green Bay.
I'm also taking Green Bay this week. I love what Arizona's been doing, but I think Green Bay is just a better team. I know Arizona had that gritty week last week, but give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't want to say this is a hard one, but it might be. You don't know what you're going to get out of Indianapolis at Tennessee, 1 o'clock. In Nashville. Indianapolis, you don't know if you're going to get that same Joe Flacco that you got last week. There's not a lot of consistency there. Calvin Ridley is back in the scene. They're 1-3 right now. They're coming off a bye week. Does that give people to recover? Does that give Tennessee a chance to recoup? Jonathan Taylor still with a Q. AR with a Q. Michael Pittman's doubtful, apparently. Josh Downs is questionable.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty not so great game for both teams. Both teams aren't great. Other teams are banged up here.
Yeah.
Titans are the home team. I think maybe we'll see a little more DeAndre Hopkins this week, I hope. But Will Levis is a little shaky at the moment. He's had more memes than touchdowns, I feel like, lately. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take the Colts this week. Even if they're a little banged up, I think you got to take Flacco over Levis this week.
You know, airing on CBS, how big is your CBS? I think I'm right there with you. Even if Will Levis does have a shaky game, I think Tony Pollard has still been doing fairly well. But I think the Colts still have Joe Flacco. Almost didn't he win Comeback Player of the Year last year?
He perhaps
Something like that.
perhaps.
But you still got Michael Pittman out there. You still got Alec Pierce out there. You know, you don't have your star running back, but that doesn't mean your running backs that you do have are slouches either. Give me Indianapolis. I agree. We'll see what Pat McAfee has to say about that one. You got Houston at New England. We don't even need to talk too much. Houston for sure.
Houston.
We could skip over that one.
Sorry, Drake May. This isn't the week you get your first.
Yeah,
win.
you're gonna get your first start, but it might be your last. So
I don't know about all that.
I'm not
but-
saying that. I meant for the season.
I know.
So another divisional game. Talking about it before. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. 1 o'clock in New Orleans. Obviously,
I like this game.
I like this game too. New Orleans coming off
Might be the game of the week.
what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? A shorter week after playing on prime time against Kansas City. Tampa Bay 3-2, 1-1 when they're away. They have a 59% chance of winning according to ESPN. Rashad White questionable. Trey Palmer questionable. On the other side of the ball, you got Derek Carr doubtful. Taysom Hill questionable. Who becomes the quarterback if he cannot play? Baker Mayfield's still been playing extremely well.
Baker's been cooking.
Of course he
We've been talking
has,
about this.
man.
Baker's been cooking.
A low over for this game. I guess it doesn't seem like
41.
people like scream 41.5. What do you think? Tampa Bay money line is minus 185.
No Derek Carr. You got to go Tampa here. I think if Derek Carr was playing, you could make a case that this game would be close. I
Yeah.
would even consider taking New Orleans if Derek Carr was playing, but I just think that Baker and Mike Evans have been playing really well. I know they're the road dogs here, and I might take that game even over 41. I think the Tampa offense can really light this team up. I know
With
teams have a good
Spence
defense.
Radler?
Again, rookie quarterback first game, a division tough matchup.
Yeah.
First start for him, but I don't think it's his first win. Give me Tampa.
I agree. Give me Tampa. I don't got a lot to say on that one. I think Tampa Bay is still good, and New Orleans it has a lot of question marks. Speaking of a lot of question marks, you got Cleveland at your Philly, 1 o'clock if your game is going, I guess, and you look, we also don't jinx on the show, so you're entitled to plead the fifth if you'd like. Deshaun Watson's not looking good.
We talked about that earlier, and like I said, 2 glasses of milk for him.
Yeah, 2 glasses of milk for him. Then he'll be a little slow. He might catch the itis before this. 69% chance to win according to ESPN. The over is 42.5. I don't think it hits that over, only because I don't think the Browns do anything this game. I think that Philly is looking a little more on their feet.
Fresh off a bye week.
A.J.
Brown's back.
Come on, bro. Fully rostered the way that they were supposed to be. Give me Philly.
Give me Philly.
All right, let's go. All right, keep it short. Don't say nothing else about that. I like that. You don't want to venture too much on the own property, if you know what I'm saying. Washington at Baltimore. Now, this is funny because obviously Jaden Daniels is coming off of don't compare me to Lamar Jackson. Now we're going to see who's the real who, what's going on. Obviously, the Ravens are 3-2. The Commanders are 4-1. Very explosive coming off this last couple games. You got Brian Robinson Jr. with a Q. On the other side of that, you know, on the season, Terry McLaurin has 23 catches, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers has 24 catches, 269 yards, and only 1 touchdown. So this is a good one. I'm going with my guy Jaden Daniels, bro. I like to pick a quarterback every year. And you know what? Harbaugh's a great coach, but I think the Commanders are hot right now. They're running off that steam. It's an early game. They'll get it off early. Give me the Commanders, man.
I like that pick, and I want to say Commanders for how hot they've been. But I got 2 words for you. Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I want to see how that defense contains him.
Yeah, man.
I think Derrick Henry's having a year to remember. Shout out to Reek.
shout out to Reek.
But no, I think that Derrick Henry's playing great football. I think the Ravens have it together. I think this is a close one. I think it's a high-scoring, close game, and I think that Baltimore might walk this one off. And give me the over on 51. I think this game is. I think this game is going to be electric.
That's a good.
But give me Baltimore for the experience.
Oh man, that was a good one. Do you mind if we skip a couple games? There's some games I really don't have like too much to get into. I think I'm not going to talk about LA, Denver, but I do want to talk about Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, only because that's a potential trade location for Devontae Adams. I think it'd be a beautiful thing if they played each other, and if one won, okay, deal, and if not, okay, I'm out of here.
That'd be wild.
Honestly, not too much to get into. Las Vegas has not done anything impressionable since the potential departure of Devontae Adams. Give me Pittsburgh.
Give me Pittsburgh. Agreed.
All right. Detroit, Dallas might be a little bit stronger to talk about. If we're talking about 2 offenses that have potential top 10 receivers in Amon-Ra and CeeDee Lamb. Rico Dowdle looks like he's been a little more explosive in the offense as of late. Jared Goff has been playing beautiful football. But Dak Prescott might not be as explosive as people might have hoped him to be. Obviously, there was some chemistry falling off in the last couple games. What was that clip of CeeDee Lamb that he said something about? Did you see that? They caught a clip of him saying something to Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah, CeeDee Lamb on the sideline.
What did he say? What did he say to him?
Dude,
people
were speculating. I don't know what he said exactly, but he said like jump ball for jump ball, like throw that shit up to me, something like that.
No, he said like that was a something ball.
He definitely said like jump ball for jump ball from what I saw. I don't know exactly what the play was that sparked that on the sidelines, but.
Okay, what did CeeDee Lamb say to... Here we go. I'm on it right now. What did CeeDee Lamb say? Okay, here we go. It says, all right, lip readers. It says read the replies. Is it going to let me read the replies? No, the comments? No. Let's see. Let's see if it lets me. Cody's Corner, here we go. Oh, no, I gotta log in. Hell no, I'm not logging into my Twitter. You want to see what the video looks like?
Yeah.
Are you good at reading lips?
All for... Jump ball for.
Full.
He said, I think he said, come on,
Subpar.
Dak. Looks like he said, come on, Dak at the end.
Subpar throw.
Maybe. And at the end, it looks like he's at the last part. He says, looks like he says, "Come on, Dak."
Throw.
Come on, Dak.
Oh.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, again.
I see that one. Wow, I didn't see that before. Interesting.
Because if he's talking about his throw, that's I mean, again, your
so now the chemistry's off in Dallas, right? They're 0-2 when they're at home. They're at home this game. The Lions are 1-0 when they're away. I think that because of just how Jared Goff finally woke up, give me Detroit.
I'm also going to agree with that, but not only I'm not the biggest Dallas fan, everyone knows that, but when the Cowboys are good, the Cowboys are good.
Eagles fans.
The Eagles haven't looked good, the Cowboys haven't looked good, but definitely give me the Lions if Micah Parsons doesn't play, because he's iffy to return this week. That's a huge loss for them in the middle of the field, and that's big for Jared Goff to exploit. He loves throwing down the middle of the field, and if there's no middle linebacker to stop that second tier in their run defense, I think that Gibbs and Monty can have a big week against this Dallas front four if there's no second level.
You love giving nicknames where they don't belong.
Come on, man. Everyone knows Monty. Come on, man.
Come on, Monty.
But yeah, give me Detroit.
Zuvier! That's what I think of when I hear Monty. Don't got to talk about Atlanta, Carolina. Maybe we could talk about the Sunday night game. We got Cincinnati against New York. Giants. Cincinnati, and I want to go through this one quick as well. It's at MetLife, so don't come anywhere near here on Sunday. You got a team that just beat Seattle against a team that just lost in Cincinnati. At Giants, are the Giants so hot right now that they can take the win over this team that looks like they can't get over the hump?
It's close. This one's close. Malik Neighbors should be back for the Giants, but you got to ask yourself, who's the hungrier dog? Cincinnati off that bone-crushing loss against the Ravens last week. This is the last chance for the Bengals to attempt a season comeback here, Cincinnati. This is the best. The Giants are an okay team. They're not great. They're not bad. They're an okay team. Can Cincinnati put it together against a team that's on paper a little bit worse than them? But I think this one's close. Again, Malik Neighbors could have a big game. Jamar Chase could have another big game. I think this one's close. I think this one's maybe a little more low scoring than people think. 47.5. I might take the under.
Malik Neighbors, it says he was still on the sideline today.
So, if he doesn't come back, that's huge for Cincinnati.
And Singletary's hurt.
But their backup running back did great last week.
What was his name?
We talked about that earlier.
I got it. Yo, listen. It's taken care of. Where's New York? Here we go. Oh, Tyrone Tracy?
He did great last week.
He did do great
and he was
last
against a
week.
good Seattle defense. So, look, this one's close. Malik Neighbors plays. I think the Giants can squeak it.
Yeah.
If Malik Neighbors doesn't play, I think Cincinnati's gonna maybe walk that one off too. But give me Cincinnati, but not convincingly. Don't be surprised if the Giants win, but I'm gonna take Cincinnati. Just they're the hungrier dog, and they need this win bad.
Does it affect you if I said that Zach Moss and Mike Gesicki might not play in Cincinnati?
Not as much as if you had told me Jamar Chase isn't playing.
Of course, yeah, he's the go-to guy.
So,
I think the Giants are hot right now. I might have to take the opposite of you. If their running game is still good, and Wan'Dale Robinson did his thing, Darius Slayton did his thing. If they can keep that going, I think the Giants could do this. Bro. I think they have a better defense.
I think they could too. I think Cincinnati's the safe pick here, just because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are just on another level than, let's say, Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones. But again, I would not be surprised the Giants win.
No.
But
I like that.
I think Cincinnati is starving for a win, especially how they lost last week. I think they're going to go out there and they're going to give this 110%. So for that reason, give me Cincinnati.
All right. I like that. Now, last but not least, Buffalo at New York. This is also in MetLife. So then MetLife Stadium is going from Sunday Night Football to Monday Night Football. You got a rivalry divisional game at 8:15. What do I think? I hope to God that after all the drama that has taken place this week, They have a little bit longer of a week. They don't have to play on Sunday. They get to play on Monday. Maybe an extra day to reset. Maybe this was why they decided to do it this week. Maybe a little longer of a week gives them that reset day and they don't miss a step when they start on Wednesday. Buffalo plays them hard. I want to see exactly if Khalil Shakir is going to play. I think that affects a lot of things. If he doesn't, let's see his status right now. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers may have gotten potentially a little hurt. It says he sprained his left ankle. I know. I think we were talking about that earlier when he went on Pat McAfee. He's like, "Yeah, I banged up my ankle pretty bad." I was like, "All right, yeah, great, thanks." James Cook also did not practice Wednesday due to foot and toe injuries, so that's something to factor in. And you got Khalil Shakir with a Q. Says his ankle as well did not practice on Wednesday. So there's a lot of question marks on both sides of the ball. There's also a question mark as to can this interim push them through a game? Give me my boys, man. I got 4 words. I say them every week. Ready? God knows my heart. That's all I got to say.
Tell him.
Come on, bro.
Tell him.
I'm not scared of Buffalo. Not without my boy. Not without him. And I'll tell you something else. If you got one receiver out, then that means we got Sauce and Reed for Coleman and what's his name?
Shakir?
If he's active. Who's the other receiver in Buffalo? From Washington. What's his name, bro? Come on. Let's see. Curtis Samuel.
Oh, Jesus. What a pull that was.
Come on, man.
I didn't even know he was on that team, to be honest. No, I didn't.
I mean, yeah, I guess that division's not of your concern, I guess,
yeah,
right?
I don't... Not even that.
It's pretty close odds, though. 44.8% chance of winning they gave the Jets. I think it can go either way, but they're in MetLife, bro.
They're at MetLife. The Jets are home. I think the Jets are going to put it together. I think they're going to rally behind the interim coach. I think this was a big shock to the organization, or for the players who didn't know that this was happening.
Hopefully a wake-up call.
Especially for the players that may liked Saleh a little bit more, and obviously you didn't hear from them because not every player gets to voice their opinion on the team every now and then. But I mean, can we just talk Josh Allen for 2 seconds? 9 for 30 for 131 last week against Houston. Who has a better defense? Houston.
Oh, the camera just died. So I guess we're gonna fly through this, but they still got the screen to look at.
All right.
So we'll keep going.
Again, Josh Allen, 131 yards last week. Who do you think has a better defense, Houston or the Jets?
The Jets.
So if
100%.
So if Josh Allen,
Houston doesn't even have a great defense.
If Josh Allen threw for 131 against the Texans, how good is he gonna do against that Jets defense?
Oh, the thing is that the Buffalo knows New York pretty well, though.
They do, but this Buffalo team is not the same Buffalo team in years past, and I think historically speaking, when interim coaches take over, they have a very good record in that first win. The team seems to rally behind the interim head coach. Give me the Jets. I'm with you on this. Give me the Jets.
I like it. Thanks, man. I'm glad you're behind us. Now we're gonna hop into this. This is gonna be real quick. We got projected leaders on what's gonna happen in Week 6, and we'll just fly through them, man. We'll leave yours for last, just cause. So the first one that we're gonna look at fantasy-wise is we got Petey, not like us, against me, 0-5. His total projected is 91. I think that he has someone in a bye week or something in the thing right now, though. So I just want to double make sure of that, because if he's projected 91 on a regular day, then hey,
no Mahomes.
No Mahomes. Okay, so that's a big break for me, though, and no Travis. So that means his starting quarterback as of now would be Justin Fields. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but then who does he start at tight end? Oh, he's starting Cole Kmet, who's, like you said, Chicago, 9:30 in the morning.
Overseas, long flight, time difference.
I like my matchups this week, though. I got Seattle for Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk. Atlanta's defense doesn't really scare me for Deontay Johnson, a divisional game. The one that scares me the most on my side of the ball, honestly, is Rico Dowdle. Other than that, I feel like I'm pretty confident. I got Ray McLeod III playing against Carolina. I think it's a good matchup, especially on how contributive he was to the win on Thursday.
I think so, too.
I don't know, man. As far as like having Jordan Addison on a bye, I think that I mean, I say this every week, right? I'm 0-5. But I'm pretty confident, I would say.
I expect big things from Etienne this week. I know he has not been great, but I think the Jags, when they play in London, they just play really well.
Yeah.
And expect a good game. I'm not saying a crazy game, but expect a good game from Etienne this week. I think that he could get you a lot of points this week. I think the Bears' defense is good, but I really want to see how they fare overseas in London against the Jags. They're obviously the home team here. So I like your matchup too. We'll see what Pedro does when it comes down to quarterback.
He'll have to start Justin Fields, and then Justin Fields plays Las Vegas. So then you got Max Crosby coming against Justin Fields, which isn't a good combination.
It's not.
And he has Texans defense playing against New England. That actually might be like a really wild lineup for them. I don't know, man.
Devontae Smith back, Jaden Reed against Arizona. That could be a good one for him as well. Devontae Smith against Cleveland. That could also be a half decent one. We'll see how A.J. Brown's form is.
Yeah. The kicker's out. His kicker's just straight up out. I thought he had a bye week. He got hurt.
He got rolled up on. A kicker's replaceable, though. Again, he's got a little bit of ragtag team, Cody. This might be your best chance to go out there and get a win.
Hopefully, man. El Clasico.
But yeah. You had me on the podcast today, so I'm taking you this week. I'll take you this week.
Wow, damn, just because I had you on the podcast? Wow, that's beautiful.
Sorry, Petey.
All right, so then we got Bend Over, which is Ronnie against my boy Obi and Saquon goals. Geno Smith against San Francisco is hard. Josh Allen against New York is hard. But then you got J.K. Dobbins against a rushing defense in Denver, hard. Garrett Wilson in Buffalo, hard. All four of Ronnie's players here have a hard matchup as the New York Jets on Monday night. So
it's gonna have like
I'm
50
just gonna
points
say
going
that
into Monday night.
Straight off of that, honestly, I might just say Obi, bro. I think that's crazy. That's wild. That's wild, bro. Off of that, on God.
I think I might take squad goals in this one. I love Tony Pollard this week. I love Saquon this week. I think that McLaurin against Baltimore might be a tough matchup. I love that he's got Brock Bowers in this week. Back in the starting lineup.
Falcons defense against Carolina.
Falcons defense against Carolina, good one. Wan'Dale Robinson could be an in or out based on Malik Neighbors' status, but Malik Neighbors out, keep Wan'Dale in.
Cincinnati's giving up points, though.
Cincinnati has been giving up points as well. But again, you got to look at volume too. If Malik Neighbors is going to take all those touches, Wan'Dale Robinson's going to have to make the most of his limited production value, just based off of sheer volume of the ball. But give me squad goals in this one.
Yeah. Sorry, Ronnie. Oh my God, Ronnie. Okay, you got Noel at 3-2 against Bijan Mustard David at 4-1. It is a 50-50. Both of them have been playing extremely well. I want to see if Jonathan Taylor comes back for Noel. But you got Lamar Jackson against Washington, might go crazy. Bijan Robinson against Carolina might go crazy. See if Michael Pittman comes back in the mix against Tennessee. Good matchup. DK Metcalf against San Francisco might be a little harder. Dalton Schultz against New England. I don't really know how that's going to go. Darnell Mooney with a Q. If he decides to play, he also had a more explosive game, but it did look like Drake London was the favorite. So we're going to see how that moves there. I want to see right now, because of Devontae Adams not playing, his receiver room is a little weaker than usual. He is 4-1. I think that Noel has a good chance of giving him 4-2. Give me Noel on this one.
Yeah, again, this is a 50-50 matchup. Both points very close in projection. Quarterbacks are playing each other. That'll be a great game to watch.
I didn't even notice
Quarterbacks are playing each other, so that's going to be awesome to watch. You got the number 1 projected quarterback in Lamar and number 2 in Jaden Daniels playing each other. Awesome matchup. Kenneth Walker and Bijan, again, both good matchups. I know Kenneth Walker's playing San Francisco, but let's not forget Kyron Williams scored 3 touchdowns against them 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Their run, they're not great against stopping the run as of late, so Kenneth Walker could be in for a big game, as well as Bijan against Carolina, so Bijan could get back up and running.
Yeah. Amari Cooper might not do anything.
Close matchup, man. I mean, this is a coin toss game, but give me David. Not by much, but give me David.
All right. I like it. There's a lot of opposing opinions here. I like this a lot. All right, so we got Caillou. Oh, I misclicked something. Excuse me. I got Caillou against my boy Kelvin. Caillou has to make some decisions soon. Because he's got Xavier Worthy on a bye. You got Sam Darnold on a bye. Then he has to fix his quarterback situation. Jalen Hurts playing against Cleveland is not a good matchup. Devin Singletary might still be on a questionable return. Kyle Pitts and Carolina's a good matchup. He's starting Xavier Legette, which is very interesting.
And he's going to have to put someone in his flex. He's got Xavier Worthy in the flex, who's not playing, and no Tyreek, no Ty Chandler, no Colby Parkinson, no Trey Tucker. So he's going to have to start Algier if Singletary doesn't play.
Yeah.
And even with Algier in. And,
Trey Tucker had a decent week last week.
Oh, yeah, he did. Sorry.
You thinking about Trey Sermon?
I was. Trey Tucker, he's against Pittsburgh
Yeah,
this week.
22 and 15 last week. He had 4, but he plays Pittsburgh. They're more focused on the run game.
So,
but I do want to see Anthony Richardson does come back and how he plays against Tennessee. I don't know if he's going to do too hot, but Chase Brown against Cincinnati could be interesting. George Kittle did wake up last week. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say give me Kelvin.
Give me Kelvin as well.
All right, yeah. Sorry, Caillou. I hope you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but down the Cup at 1-4 against Shooting Off for Last and Albert and 2-3. Two good friends. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb being started again against Detroit, which could get a little ugly. But Josh Jacobs finally waking up against Arizona. Could be questionable. Alvin Kamara against Tampa Bay, another divisional game. Zach Ertz in Baltimore, I feel like could get a little ugly. They have a good linebacker situation, and with those in routes that tight ends usually run, that could be a little questionable for him. Kirk Cousins playing Carolina could be explosive if his offense has really figured it out, and Tucker Kraft is looking like that guy, as we said before. Mm-hmm. So I think this can go either way. George Pickens, I feel like could have a good game, as he has been. I trust the Colts defense. The Bills defense, I don't think. I'm not even going to keep talking about the Bills-Jets game. To be honest with you. From looking at this and looking at the matchups, I think Alex can actually win this game just because there's a lot of Qs on the other side of the ball, and that could affect a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Myers obviously is getting a higher volume of the ball because of the figuring out the situation with Devontae Adams. But other than that, I feel like this is actually pretty even. I think this is hard, man. Because of matchups, I would say Albert, but I think that I feel more safe picking Alex. Give me Alex.
Give me Alex as well. I think for Albert, I know he's got his running back on a bye week, but Jalen McLaughlin in the lineup.
Yikes. Chill.
McLaughlin in that RB1, RB2 spot is not convincing to me. He hasn't had more than 11 points, and that came last week. And he's not a convincing running back to me, and I think that could really handicap this team going forward. Raheem Shaheed, big boomer bust player, as well as George Pickens. Again, if they don't hit that boom play, it's a lot of points lost. I think that Alex's core and Kamara, Jacobson, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers, and Jerome Ford is just a little too much for Albert this week. So give me Alex.
All right. Keep it quick. Keep it simple. Now, you and your roommate, Mr. Joe Foreign, against Help Me Step Burrow, just put up 170-something against me and kicked me out the door. 3-2 against 2-3. 120. You're projected 125, or he's projected 111. How do you feel about your matchup this week?
I mean, look, I already beat Brandon once this year, and we're running it back again. So he's finally his team's finally starting to get a little bit better. I know when we first played in week 3, it wasn't a great week for him, but DJ Moore's been doing great. Yep. Mike Evans fresh off a bye week in a division game. Love Jake Ferguson against Detroit as well for his team. And Joe Burrow, I mean, how about those last 2 weeks?
How about Joe Burrow?
High 20s, low 30s last 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, I mean, look, you got Kyler Murray. If the Jets can get Breece Hall cooking this week in a division game, which he should get back to form.
Big if.
But again, my 2 running backs playing each other. Breece Hall and James Cook playing each other, both offensive side of the ball. So I'll be watching that Monday night game very closely.
Yeah.
But I think this one's pretty close. I know it says that I have him out projected, but those are never usually right.
Right.
Matchups, again, can go either way, but
I think I like his matchups more, if I'm being realistic with you.
I don't disagree with that at all. Again, Malik Neighbors is in my lineup, is questionable, as well as James Cook. If either one of those doesn't play, I'm going to be scrambling to start someone else. But if my team is a full go, I'm going to take myself. Sorry, Brandon.
All right. I'm going to go against you. I'm actually going to pick Brandon because after last week, plus these matchups, I feel like, Breece Hall might not figure it out. James Cook has a Q. Malik Neighbors might not play. There's just a lot of stuff going on that I feel like it can go the opposite way, unfortunately. And before I forget, I'm just going to throw it out there that I didn't pick a win of the week for last week. So I'm just going to go ahead and say probably the closest game. I'm going to say because Ronnie started for the Jets, I'm going to give him win of the week. Bendover's team of 115. And that's all we got for me and you. So, Joey, I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the wine bottle. Thank you for come hanging out with me. And
Of course.
we look forward to talking to you guys next week, as always. And I'll see you.
Well,